The three selected images come from a body of work entitled Entrada Proibida, which translates from the Portuguese forbidden entry. The work was produced over a course of a year, repeatedly visiting ports in Mozambique. And what I really wanted with the project was to produce a series that was much more meditative and contemplative, but was based on the real, that it was still a documentary project, but that was approached in a way that allowed the viewer and me to have a much more open engagement with what was being photographed. Now, as the title suggests, I was facing a situation and a space that is happening in many parts of East Africa and of the developing world. The seaports have been transformed into privatized spaces secluded from the city. And in a place like Mozambique, and in many other places in East Africa that have such a long history and whose history is so importantly connected to ocean travel and to the sea in general, I thought it was something important to think about critically. So as I went into the port and I walked around it, I looked for things, moments, and spaces that were possible, or that allowed the viewer, or that allowed me to create a picture whose meaning was evocative of situations and feelings of nostalgia and melancholy that I find coming out of a tension in these places. The tension then comes about from the history of the place, from the history of the spaces, of the port space, at the same time at a conjuncture with this idea of globalization and what the ports mean for globalization. So, for example, the image of this worker, I framed it in a way that, and I shot it at a moment where it is the worker unloading a ship, but the image in a way wants to at least allow the possibility of engaging something with a relationship to either the idea of nostalgia or decay, or even the open arms as something that doesn't necessarily give you a direct meaning, but might allow you to think about the conditions in these places, and also just of the situation in general. The other images, the one of the water and the image of the man coming out, are taken in a part of the port which is an enclosed beach area. But for example, the man coming out of the mud is as a fisherman, who kind of in a way represents this idea of the relationship between melancholy and nostalgia and the idea of the port in the contemporary global world. And the same with the water. It's an image taken in high tide in the early morning, but it suggests change. It suggests something that is there that we cannot really see, and these are the moments and the things that I was really interested, and hence the title as well, Forbidden Entry, is we know about these places, we know what they are, but what happens when you get in a little bit further and you kind of evoke and you kind of start digging into certain meanings and certain feelings rather than that are part of that space as well.